Maseches Horayos Daf Hey Amud Beis. Today's Daf is Amud Beis, but we are still in Hey Amud Aleph. And I made this chart over here that summarizes what we've seen before, what we saw before, and what we will see today also. It's both a summary and a spoiler. So we said, according to Rabi Yehuda, according to Rabi Yehuda's opinion, yeah. So the Mishnah spoke about three opinions. One opinion is Rabi Yehuda. Rabi Yehuda says that who brings a korban? Each shevet brings a korban. He learns the kahal means a shevet, and therefore each shevet has to bring a korban. And Rabi Yehuda also says that there's a concept called gereira, which means we saw in the Mishnah that if 7 shvatim sinned, each and every shevet has to bring a korban. Which korban? A bull, par helam dovo, the bull that goes to the kodesh, and that is, the blood goes to the kodesh, and that is what they have to bring. And another point of Rabi Yehuda was that even if a shevet of a Beis Din, a shevet of 23 dayanim, who are sitting in Beis Din in one of the shvatim, they too have to bring a korban. What do you mean they too? Let's say the shevet of, let's say the Beis Din of shevet Gad, of shevet Binyamin. They said to all the Binyaminites, you're allowed to eat chelev from now on. Not every chelev, the chelev of a certain animal. Let's say, then what? What happens then? All the Binyaminim, or most of them, followed them. According to Rabi Yehuda, they too have to basically bring a korban of that shevet. But in that case, there's no greira. Get that? In other words, if the shvatim, even the minority, sinned because of Beis Din Godol's ruling, then the rest of the shvatim are mitzaref, and they also have to bring a korban, even though they didn't sin, even though we're not choite. But if the ruling came from the Beis Din, local Beis Din of 23, and were followed by their own groupies, by their own people, then we say that the other shvatim don't follow through. That's Rabi Yehuda. Now, I'm skipping to the end on purpose. Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir holds, who brings a korban? Only Beis Din. Only Beis Din brings a korban. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Now, why? We'll see later on. Kahal means Beis Din, and that's about it. Now, do the other brings as well? No. According to everybody else except for Rabbi Yehuda, there's no greira. Both Rabbi Shimon and Meir, there's no greira, and both Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Meir hold that the Beis Din of 23, what they do, what they say, does not obligate anybody to bring a korban if they're just local Beis Din of 20. Now, what does Rabbi Shimon say about who brings a korban? He says both the shevet and the people, both the shvatim, each one, and the Beis Din, they both bring a korbanos, and therefore you may end up with a maximum of 13 korbanos. 1 per shevet, plus Beis Din would bring their own korban always. Okay, that's kahal and kahal. I'm giving you examples here. No, thank you. No, I have. It says the chart. Example number 1. You tell me. The great Beis Din Agadol ruled a mistake, and you have it, Alan. You have the chart. Yeah, the big Beis Din Agadol, they ruled a mistake, and one tribe followed them. No, you tell me without looking inside. What does Rabi Yehuda say? Rabi Yehuda says, how many shvatim have to bring the korban? Very, very good. All of them, 12. Why? Because all the other shvatim are schlepped through together with the one that sinned. According to Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Meir, there's no greira. So according to Rabbi Shimon, who brings the korban if one tribe was choite? How many korbanos are brought, and by who?
One tribe.
Yeah.
If that make a mistake, then they bring it.
True, and that's it. Who else? According to Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon, son of Jokai, who also brings Beis Din. Rabbi Shimon is double, not trouble, double korban. Rabbi Shimon says both the shevet and the Beis Din. That's how he learns. The more the merrier is Rabbi Shimon. And Rabbi Meir, what happens if only the minority follow, not the majority, according to Rabbi Meir? Then who brings the korban? Not the Beis Din, and not the tribe. Rav Meir doesn't believe in tribal korbanos, so to speak. Rav Meir says each one will have to bring their own little shepsel, female goat or female sheep. Case number 2.
That's more.
What?
That's more.
Sure, on each one, but it's not public. Yeah, it's more for sure, more. Yeah. Now, case number 2, the Beis Din Gadol ruled that 7 tribes have to follow. 7 that they ruled that chaylev is okay, and 7 shvatim followed them. According to Rabi Yehuda, same as before, 12 korbanos. According to Rabbi Shimon, how many korbanos? 7 and 1, 8. Beis Din and everybody. And Rabbi Meir says only the Beis Din Gadol, because once Beis Din Gadol will follow by the Roiv, then the Roiv rules, and therefore the Beis Din is bringing the korban. What happened? Case number 3, a regional Beis Din, not regional court, regional Beis Din. The Beis Din of Shevet Naphtali, let's say, one Shevet, they ruled that Dam is okay, or Nida is okay under certain circumstances, and they were followed by their own fans, the fan club, their own Shevet followed them. Who has to bring a korban? According to Rabbi Yehuda, 1 korban only. Why? Because according to Rabbi Yehuda, they bring the Shevet, but there's no greira, there's not a national level catastrophe. It's only that Shevet that was ruled by their own Beis Din. Yeah, what happens in one area, one in Minnesota does make a difference for Maine, let's say. Yeah, in other words, they're 2 separate places. Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Meir, they both say there's no public korbanos. If the Beis Din ha-Koton, Beis Din ha-Shevet of 23, if they ruled that something is okay and people followed them, then nothing happened. What do you mean nothing happened? The people themselves, as you said, Jeffrey, will have to bring their own korbanos, which will be much more at the end of the day. But it's not a public issue. It's not a public inyan. There's also footnotes. One of the footnotes we'll only have to see later on in today's shiur. So now I will stop the sharing. Okay, 1 second. Weiter. Continues the Gemara. Maseches, Horayos, Daf Hey Amud Aleph. Today we're officially Daf Hey Amud Beis, but we're still in Amud Aleph right now. We're in the first wide line. Omar Mar, the first wide line in the page. And thank you for reminding me. This year's Le'ilu Nishmas Avi Meir, Menachem Ben Akiva, Le'ilu Nishmas Sora Bas Moshe, Ulo Fuas Ben Yomi Mordechai Ben Malka, Besoch Shel Chol Yisrael. What does that mean? At the beginning of the brisa that was brought earlier on in the page, it said, remember the case? That Beis Din ruled one thing. Let's say they ruled that chaylev is okay. Eventually, people made 2 mistakes. They made the mistake and they ate chaylev, and also they made the mistake and they ate blood, not because of Beis Din. They ate blood because it said so in the Yated Ne'eman. I don't know, nothing to do with Beis Din. They followed a different idea. It's time a mistake. So now, what did we say? Beis Din all of a sudden get this oy vey vey moment, not the aha moment, but the oy vey moment. That's a Jewish version of aha moment. And Beis Din say, oy, we made a mistake, ay, ay, ay. But we don't remember which mistake we made. We don't remember if we ruled chaylev or dam. The computer got lost. They don't remember what they said. So now they know, Beis Din knows that they did something wrong, they ruled something wrong, but they don't remember if it was the dam or the chaylev. So now, shall we say, okay, yalla, bring a korban, because at the end of the day, one of the 2 mistakes of the tzibur, one of the 2 mistakes are Beis Din related. So why don't you just bring a korban just to be on the safe side, to be extra safe? We say no. Beis Din has to know the hate that they actually caused. They have to know which sin they caused specifically. Otherwise, it's not considered. You can't bring the korban. Why? It says v'noido hachatos. The hate itself has to be brought. It's not enough to know that some people sinned in general because of us. We have to know which sin, which hate is it that we caused. Okay, Mantana, who is the Tana? Who is the author of that brisa? This is definitely not Rabbi Eliezer. Which Rabbi Eliezer? What Rabbi Eliezer? Ditnan. It says in the Mishnah. It's a Mishnah in Krisus. If I'm not mistaken, it's in Krisus. Machlokes Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. The case over there is very similar to ours, but in a personal level. What happens if a person ate chaylev or noisar? He knows they ate something forbidden. He doesn't know if that piece of fat was chaylev or maybe it was noisar. Noisar means a korban that was left over, past the time that it can be eaten. let's say the guy is even a kohen, and he doesn't know, he knows this was real trouble. It's an Isser Koris, oy vay voy vay voy, but he doesn't know if it was chelev or noisar. Says Rabbi Lezer, bring a korban nevertheless. Manafshach. Manafshach means whichever way you look at it. In chelev ochal, chayev. If he ate chelev, he has to bring a korban. Noisar ochal chayev. If he ate noisar, he's also chayev. If so, Rabbi Lezer does not believe that you have to know specifically the chait that you committed, or in our case, you caused. Same thing over here. I assume Rabbi Lezer would argue on our mission, on our brisa, and he would say, no, Beis Din has to bring a korban. Rabbi Lezer does believe in that, be on the safe side, a general safety net. He's okay with that. So if so, l'choira our brisa does not follow Rabbi Lezer. It should follow the other opinion over there of Rabbi Yeshua. That's opinion number one. Rav Ashi says, no, afilu tema Rabbi Lezer, even if you tell me that our brisa is Rabbi Lezer, I can live with it, I can manage it. Shiny hocha, over here it is different. Dichtiv, it says in the Torah, in our parsha regarding who? Regarding the dayanim, there's a different halacha to a personal korban. You're trying to compare a personal korban to a communal korban. It's not the same. Why? Dichtiv. It says over here, shechotu oleho. It says that they should bring the korban on the chet that they sinned on. In other words, by us, the Torah is being more specific, demanding that the dayanim should know exactly which chet was caused by them. But by a regular person who just made his own mistake of chelev or noisar, and he knows he did something wrong, but he doesn't know what was wrong, in that case, it doesn't say such a pasuk. The Torah is less demanding. So this brisa could also coexist with Rabbi Lezer. In a personal korban, you should know you sinned, although you don't know what category was, which category. Mashenken by us, but Beis Din, it says chotu oleho on it. The Torah says that you should know exactly which one. Says the Gemara, you're telling me because it says chotu oleho, specifically, we're demanding more? The Gemara is now trying to slug it up. Hasam nami, over there also, by a personal korban, it also says such a pasuk. It says, aksiv, it says, asher choto bo, the third wide line. Asher choto bo. What does it mean, asher choto bo? Meaning, again, choto bo, in it. So why don't you say over there too? Because the pasuk seems to be more demanding and specific and particular. Also there, the Torah l'choira is telling me that the person should know exactly what was the sin that he committed. So why over there we're being more lax and we say whether noisar or chelev or whatever, you bring the korban even without being specific. Why? There's also drosha over there, same thing, very similar style of psukim. And says the Gemara, no, you have to read you have to darshan the pasuk over there differently. The word is shechot ba mibayile, we use it for a different limud. Prat lemisasek. Welcome to misasek. What's misasek? Misasek means misasek is a person who does something and he doesn't know what he's doing. Doesn't mean he's crazy. He's very, very unaware of some technical facts. And soon I'll give an example. And misasek is a person who is less than shoygeg, which means, I'll tell you in short and then I'll explain more. Whenever we talk about shoygeg, it's a very big mistake to say that shoygeg is a mistake. Shoygeg is not any mistake. Shoygeg is brought in very specific mistakes, such as, I thought it was allowed. When people eat chelev, and there's all chelev party going on, and everyone eats chelev, why do they eat the chelev? They're not off the derech, because they think it's okay. Beis Din told them, or they told themselves mistakenly, or the scientist told them, or the mashgiach kashrus told them with a big white beard. But they really think chelev is okay. So they just think that chelev is fine. Or maybe they're misinformed. They think that the chelev is what is Shimon. But they know that they're eating. They know more or less what's going on. And then they're chayiv chatos, or in Shabbos. Let's move now to Shabbos. A person who knows exactly what he's doing is now cooking a meal. A very, very aware person. I am now cooking a meal. Yes, I know exactly what I'm doing. And he gets perfect results. Why is he a mistaken person regarding Shabbos? Either he thinks today is Thursday, or he thinks that cooking is okay. They never taught him in day school that cooking on Shabbos is not allowed. He thought it was fine. Look, the people use the plata, the thing is fine. But let's say a person picks up a carrot on Shabbos and he was sure that the carrot is disconnected from the ground, is lying on the ground, and really it was connected, or tomato, let's say, or tomato. He saw that the tomato was disconnected, and voila, it was connected. That's a complete misconception of the situation. He didn't know how to read the situation at all. He was really not aware. Yeah, he wanted to do X, and he really did Y. He wanted to pick up, and he ended up uprooting. That was all completely different action. Such a case, a person is not chayv korban. A person is completely unaware of what's going on, what's flying. That person, not that he's crazy, he's unaware, he wanted to do one action and did the other by fluke. That person is called misasek, is just kilu acting without knowing, and that person does not have to bring a korban chatos because his level is below shoygig. He's below shoygig. How do you know that? That we know from the posuk shechotabo. The posuk shechotabo does not tell me that I have to know which sin I committed. I don't. The only thing a shechotabo comes to tell me is to exclude misasek, to tell me that misasek really is potu. Shechotabo, remember that. Now, Meir or Belezer is consistent. Belezer comes out very good. When it comes to a personal korban, all I have to know is to know what's going on. But I don't have to know exactly which chet I did. I don't have to know if the chet was chelav or noiser. I still bring a korban. Mashenkin, but the dayanim? No. But the dayanim, it says, chotu aleo. Chotu aleo means they have to know exactly how they misled the tzibur. But if they don't know how they misled the tzibur made several mistakes, and Beis Din doesn't know which one to allege to themselves to the Beis Din, they don't have to bring a korban, even according to Rabbi Lezer, and everything is beautiful and nice. Excellent, perfect. Again, oh wow. Ellen is asking a good question. His questions are always good. And Ellen is asking, Farvos, don't you say that you should bring an Osham Tolui? Don't we say that in a case of doubt, bring an Osham Tolui? The answer is no. Osham Tolui is if you don't know if you have to bring Chatas or no. Here he knows he has to bring, he just doesn't know which one. He knows he committed the Chatas related mistake. He doesn't know which mistake, Chelev or Noisar. Osham Tolui means he doesn't know Bechlal if he's chayev chatas or not. He doesn't know if he was chaylev or kosher fat.
If he knows he's chayev on one, but not sure of the other.
No, he doesn't know he's chayev on one. He doesn't know if he's chayev on one. He doesn't know if he's chayev on one. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't know which one. He knows he's chayev on one. He doesn't know which one. Here comes the Torah and told you, yeah, according to Rabbi Lezer, it's really chayev. He has to bring. Rabbi Yehuda says no. It's a machlokes. Rabbi Lezer is your friend. Rabbi Lezer says yes. You have to bring chatos. You have to bring chatos, according to Rabbi Lezer. One. It was one piece. He doesn't know if it was chelev or noiser. He doesn't know which box to tick. Mashenken, Rabbi Yehuda says no. Rabbi Yehuda says oid elov means he has to know exactly which chet. Yes, and we continue. Okay. Now we're starting to, if you have the charts, yeah. Okay, my time at Rabi Yehuda. Yeah, you have one? Can you bring both? My time with Rabi Yehuda. What's Rabi Yehuda's reason? Rabi Yehuda has many differences. Rabi Yehuda has at least two differences, and actually three differences if you compare to Rabbanan between him and between him, 1 second, and Rabbanan. Rabi Yehuda has many different things, and now we're going to see where did Rabi Yehuda take what he's saying from. Very good. My time with Rabi Yehuda, what's Rabi Yehuda's reason? Meaning, what is the source for Rabi Yehuda to give us all these extra limudim? Kasova, Rabi Yehuda thinks, Arbo kahal iksivi. It says, according to Rabi Yehuda, 4 times kahal in the Torah. I want to read the pasuk now with you, and it's important you remember the pasukim. The pasukim say as follows, yeah? It says, Im kol adas Yisrael yishgu, v'ne'elam dover me'inei ha'kohol. Something was lost from the eyes of the kahal. V'osu achas mikol mitzvos Hashem shalot asena. They committed something which should not be done. And then afterwards it says, v'noid achatas shachot oleh oy v'voy. They realized the mistake. V'krivu hakol par ben bokol lechatos. And then the kahal again should bring the korban to Beis HaMikdash. So it says twice the word hakol. Remember it very well. At the beginning it says the kol made a mistake, misled the kahal, and then hakahal has to bring the korban. So 1 + 1, if I'm not mistaken, is 2. Hakahal. Rabbi Yehuda says there's 4, and then there were 4. Rabbi Yehuda is my friend. My time with Rabbi Yehuda. Kasova arbo kahal iksivi. It as if it says 4 times kahal. Favos. Kahal. ha-kahal, yeah? It says kahal, ha-kahal, which means the letter hey is like an extra word. The letter hey is like an extra word. Anybody here speaks English? Yeah? In English, ha-kahal is a separate word. Guys, you're right all along. The congregation. It's all new word, right? In Hebrew, hey is just a letter. In English, in many other languages, the kahal. Nice, you understand it. Ha-kahal, the letter hey, is related to as a whole extra word. Ha-kahal, and again it says kahal, ha-kahal. So altogether, you have ha-kahal times 2 and ha-kahal times 2. Ha-kahal, ha-kahal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each one is used for something. Listen carefully and understand everything. Chad, number 1, l'chayv el kol kahal v'kahal. Number 1 is Rabbi Shimon's opinion. Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, which by the way is agreed upon by Rabbi Shimon, and that is each and every kahal brings. What does it mean each and every kahal? Each and every what? Shiur, synagogue, school, each and every shevet, kahal. Each and every shevet brings their own, right? One shevet, 2 shvatim, each one brings their own korban. V'chad, the other word kahal, lehoirot lui bebeis din u'ma'aseh Torah b'kol. There's a special word kahal to tell me that the beis din rule and the people followed. You think it's simple because I brainwashed you from day one. Really, if you look at the psukim themselves don't actually say outright, and we'll discuss it later, it doesn't say that the beis din misled the people. It says the kahal made a mistake. If you read the psukim superficially, without going into the droshes and diukim, it doesn't say beis din woke up in the morning and they misled the others. We'll learn it from the extra word, the kahal. Kahal is beis din, and beis din misled the people and people followed them. You need 2 for tango. They're ruling and they're following the ruling. So that we learn from kahal. The chad, number 3, legreira. What's greira? That if 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 shvatim sinned, the others didn't, the others also have to bring. What's ligro in Hebrew? To schlep, to draw, to drag. They're dragged, that's a better word. They're dragged along with them. The chad, and the 4th one, l'shevet shosa b'ras beis din. And the 4th one is something also exclusively Rabi Yehuda. If one shevet followed their own smaller beis din of 23, one shevet, let's say one shevet Shimon followed the beis din of Shimon, they have to bring their own korban and others don't. Local problem, local politics of that shevet. So those 4 things Rabbi Yehuda learns from the 4 psukim, ha-kahal, ha-kahal. Now we know Rabbi Yehuda has so many things that other Tanoim don't. Now Rabbi Shimon, if you see in the chart, everything's perfect now. Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Shimon believes it only says 3 times kahal. Rabbi Shimon deletes one of the hays of Rabbi Yehuda, and soon we'll know why. Ha-kahal, kahal, ha-kahal. It says, ha-kahal, that's hey and kahal. And the 3rd one is treated as one word, ha-kahal. Why? Hey, why is one hey treated as a separate word and one hey is not treated that way? He tells you why. Me'einei hakol uche dechrohu. To say einei hakahal is called in dikduk of Hebrew smichut. Beit hasefer, right? Einei hakahal, the hey always appears in the second word. There are 2 words which are juxtaposed together to create a new word. Beit hasefer doesn't mean the book house, right? It means school. Beit HaSefer. So the bar ha-mitzvah. The real word, brother, is not bar mitzvah. Chatan bar ha-mitzvah. When you say chatan ha-bar mitzvah, it's a mistake. Common and wrong thing to say. You should say chatan bar ha-mitzvah. Hebrew, thank you. Yeah, chatan bar ha-mitzvah. Okay, that's the way it should be. Beit ha-ish. So to over here, meinei ha-kahal is simple language, a simple grammar. So that ha-kahal is not an extra hey to teach me a whole new thing. It's just the way the Torah writes. Continues the Gemara even more. As people talk, even in today's talks, that's the way people say. They say me'einei de planya, from the eyes of someone. Einei ha-kahal, the eyes of the congregation. And therefore, Rabbi Shimon only stays with 3 droshas because one hey is there for simple grammar and not for an extra drosha. It's not coming to tell me a whole new exciting thing. There's no button to press. Now he has 3, Rabbi Shimon. What are those 3? Chad l'chayv kol kol v'kol. Rabbi Shimon agrees to Rabbi Yehuda in one thing only. If you see in the chart also and in the Gemara, al kol kal v'kal. Rabbi Shimon believes that each and every tribe has to bring their own. You can see in the footnote, we'll see in Amud Bey, there's a difference between them, but lo mishane. Let's say when it comes to 7 or 8 or 9 tribes, both Rabbi Yehuda and Shimon agree, when it comes to majority, each and every tribe has to bring from those who sinned. Now the other two, what does he do with the other two? Hakal kahal. What does he do with them? Nema lemata kahal. Yeah, we're in the 4th line from the bottom of the page, the beginning of the line. What's lemala? What's lemata? In the korban it says kahal, and in the ruling, the sin and the punishment. In both of them it says a kahal. Malal based in ima kahal, just like what? Just like the sin was based in with a kahal. You need two for tango. The based in sinned and people sinned. Right? Okay, they followed, so what? They followed, but they followed a mistake. They both are culpable. Afkan based in kahal. So to here, based in with the kahal together, they both have to bring a korban. So Bekitzer, we see one drosha to tell me each and every tribe, according to Rabbi Shimon, and 2 kahals are juxtaposed together. They're not juxtaposed. They're used together as 2 parts of a gzera shova to tell me that just like here, based in the kahal, so too the sin and actually the korban both are brought by Beis Din and the Kal. Hence, according to Rabbi Shimon, Beis Din has to bring together with the tzibur an extra korban. That's Rabbi Shimon. Now, opinion number 3. Rabbi Meir. Now, Rabbi Meir, he is less than everybody. Rabbi Meir has less chidushim. Rabbi Meir does not believe that each shevet brings. Rabbi Meir is very, very conservative, I would say. He says only one thing. If Beis Din misled the oiv, who brings the korban? Beis Din. Only Beis Din. No, Beis Din, oiv. Beis Din, very good, very good. Rabbi Meir, so what does he do with all these extra psukim? He says, no, kahal, ha-kahal, loy dorish. Rabbi Meir, in his besmedrash, from his rabbeim, he got the Masoiro, that you don't darshan the hey yediyah, you don't darshan the. You don't darshan the letter hey. It's just there for grammatic reasons, for stylistic reasons, for very holy reasons. It's the Torah, it's all shemis of Hashem, but you don't darshan any regular pshatim in from the hey. And therefore, you only have 2. For Rabbi Yehuda has 4, Rabbi Shimon has 3, and Rabbi Meir has 2. Boom, boom, boom. And then there were 2. Hilkach, therefore, Trei kahalik sivi miboile. Yeah. The both kahalim, one in the top, one in the bottom, one in posuk 1 and one in the second posuk, are both required. L'nemar lemata kahal, v'nemar lemala kahal. Kahal is mentioned on top and the bottom, meaning it's mentioned both in the sin and in the korban. Malalan based in v'loy tzibu, just like the ones in charge, according to Rabbi Meir's understanding, the ones who are really culpable are based in and not the tzibur, because they misled everybody, and they're called einei ha'edo, and they're called einei ha'kohol. They're the ones in charge. It's their fault much more. Afkan based in v'loy tzibu. So too, the korban is brought by Beis Din and not by the tzibur. Those who actually have to go to the Mishkan or Beis HaMikdash and put their hands over the head of the bull and actually be there and be in charge of that and do vidui and feel bad about it and not feel bad, I'm saying be kapara, ask for kapara, or Beis Din and not the tzibur. So these are the 3 opinions. I think between the Gemara and the chart, we get it right. You can do Chazara homework with the YouTube, without YouTube. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. Now, remember Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, he's not in the chart for a very simple reason. Because Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar is not outright arguing with anybody. He's arguing with everybody, but he's talking about a different issue. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, if you remember, he said at the beginning of the Brisa, he's not in the Mishnah, and he said, according to him, what's called roiv, who's the majority? Majority means American election kind of majority. Not the real majority, which means you can have a majority of shvatim, 7 shvatim, without the majority of the people. You can have more shvatim, but they're less populated, right? There are less people there. So you only have even 40% of 7 shvatim. That can happen. Or what? Or you can have the other way. You can have the majority of the people, but only 6 shvatim or less. Yeah, very populous shvatim. So he believes that's also called the roiv. In other words, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar is a take on Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Shimon Elazar is a follower of Rabbi Meir that cares about the roiv nation, but Rabbi Shimon Elazar is being very, lax or machmir, depends which way you look at it. Rabbi Shimon Elazar has a broader definition of roiv. Roiv means either shvatim or the people. We are in the second line from the end of the page. Rabbi Shimon Elazar, my time, what brought Rabbi Shimon Elazar to say what he said, and he said what, as we just explained, a minority within the majority? Ksiv, it says, V'hoya imeinei ha'eda. Alma miuta d'chsiv. Alma miuta d'chsiv me'einei. On one hand, the word me always means what? From, of. It's always something that comes to deduct, take away, to reduce. So that means to say miuta, me'einei, from the eyes. Uksiv. On the other hand, it says kilechol ha'am bishgogo. By the way, these psukim, there's another piece of information you have to know. This pasuk lechol ha'am bishgogo is not mentioned in Vayikra about the bull of the mistake of Beis Din. It's about the sira of Avodah. Yeah, all the time we have two korbanos. We have korban of regular chet and we have one of Avodah. So the famous pasuk, V'nislach lechol das beis Yisrael ki lechol ha'am bishgogo, which we say is called Nidrei, right? That pasuk is not from Yom Kippur. This pasuk is actually talking about Beis Din who misled the people regarding Avodah, and the Beis Din has to bring the korban according to Meir, and then Hashem forgives everybody. Okay? L'chol ha'am bishgogo. Wait, but it says kol ha'am, the entire nation, or at least the majority. L'meimra deruba'in miut aloi. What's going on? This pasuk seems to be much more inclusive, requiring more. Deruba'in, yes, you need a lot. Miut no, not a miut. So you have one pasuk that tells me minority. The other pasuk says majority. What do? Find a pshara, majority / minority. We found that solution. Okay, tzad, I'll tell you how that works. Works very well. Works terrific. Also, shisha ven ruba shel kol. Either there are 6 shvatim which are not the majority mitzat shvatim, but the ruba shel kol, but they have a lot of population. They are over 50% of the population. Afal pishen and oi, or alternatively, zayin shiva. You have 7 shvatim. Afal pishen and ruba shel kol. You have 7 shvatim, but the less populous. There's 7 shvatim, majority, but the less population, like the American elections. Yeah, you can have more states with less people. So then chayovin comes the Torah, tells you both cases are chayovin. That's why the Torah is on purpose playing with this majority-minority business. That's how he learns it. Now, Rabbi Meir himself never said that. Rabbi Meir himself requires roiv, requires most shvatim and majority of the people. He learns the psukim differently. Let's turn the page and start today's page. Now, so we explained how Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon work. Now, Rabbi Yehuda had a source. Rabbi Yehuda was very rich. Rabbi Yehuda is the richest guy. Rabbi Yehuda, what? He has 4 kahal, right? He has a lot of sources for droshes. Now, Rabbi Shimon and Meir are less prolific, right? Rabbi Shimon has 3, and Meir has 2. So now, if you noticed, Rabbi Yehuda had enough alcohols to tell me that the mechanism of how it works is based in ruling and people doing. Yeah? Do as I say. Yeah, don't do as I do. Do as I say, right? That's what happened then. Now, according to Shimon and Meir, hey, we don't have a source for that. We don't have enough words to tell me that this is how it works. And it's not written outright in the pasuk. And yet, on this nekuda, everyone agrees. That's why it's not in the chart. You know it's not in the chart because everyone agrees to that. Everyone agrees to that fact. Everyone agrees to that. That Beis Din ruled and people followed. The question is, who brings the korban? Majority, my grandma. I don't care. But Lamaisa, everyone knows that it's the that it's Beis Din who ruled over people and people follow them. Rabbi Shimon of Meir says the Gemara, I'm reading inside now. The Horayos tluya beBeis Din. Horayos depends on Beis Din. U'Maisa tole bekol. And the Maisa depends on the people. Minalu. How do you know? How do they know that? How do they see it in the psukim? Omar Abaye, says Abaye, Domal Kro, it says in the Pasuk, V'hoya I me'einei ha'eda nesto lishgogo. Me'einei ha'eda means the eyes of the Eda. Who are the eyes of the Eda? With all the respect to simple people, it's based in, it's not everyone are the eyes of the Eda. Me'einei ha'eda, and then it says nesto lishgogo, it came out to be shgogo by others. In other words, ne'esta sounds like there's a process in between. It's not like Beis Din themselves did it, and it doesn't say that people did it. In other words, there's like there's an influencer and influencee. I don't know, influenced. Yeah, there's me'einei ne'esta lishgogo. It became somewhere else. Ne'esta into. It turned into a shgogo. Sounds like somebody else was involved. This is how he learns the pasuk. Rava says a different. By the way, this pasuk is written about the seer of Avodah, not the general one. That's in Parshas Shlach. Yeah, towards the end of Shlach.
But the eyes of the assembly done intentionally. Was this set by the Beis Din or the congregation?
Thank you. So now, Rava says a different source. Milakol ha'am bishgogo. Since it says l'chol ha'am bishgogo, Everyone depends, says Rashi. Look at Rashi, says, Shiu kulan tluin b'shigigas, here, b'shigigas akol. Ubeis din doiro. The honest truth is, they never really chapped why this pasuk is telling me that. I don't see it in the pasuk, but Rashi says everyone's tolui b'shigigas akol. I don't know. In other words, the pasuk says kol ambish gogo. So kol ambish gogo sounds like the Amud shogeg because of Beis Din somehow. So that's how Rav learns. He learns that kol ambish gogo means everyone was misled by someone. I don't see it in the pasuk pshat. Then maybe it's a drosha. So in any event, the tzricha. Now the Gemara is now attacking both Abba and Rava. Why do you need both psukim? Why do you need the first pasuk to tell me me'ene ha'eda, and the second pasuk to tell me that everyone kolam, everyone went wrong? Now everything will make much more sense. If the pasuk would have only told me that eine ha'eda, who are eine ha'eda? The Beis Din, and Eshgogo came out, Hava Amina, I would have thought afilu miuta, maybe even minority. A mistake came out. Maybe only Shmuel Beryl and the uncle, Punkel, maybe they're the only two people who followed Beis Din. Every Jew is the whole world. So maybe even a miut, maybe even a minority followed Beis Din. It says, the mistake of Beis Din, Nesta, became Shgogo, maybe even a minority. That's why the Torah speaks a few psukim later and makes sure you know, Kolam, the entire, and Rubei Kechula, majority is like everyone. Very good. Oh, so not the other way. The cost of the Kol Ambish Gogo. Maybe it would have been enough to write Kol Ambish Gogo. Avamina ad the Avdi Beis Din ba'ad Ruba. I would have thought Beis Din are only chayiv if they also sin together with the Roiv. Get me? In other words, I would have thought the Kahal who made the mistake are two Kahal, the Beis Din and the people. So maybe there is a prerequisite. The Beis Din should have also sinned practically, and also had the chelev, and also misled. That's so the first pasuk is giving me the clear indication that there's an influencer and influence. There's mashpia and mushpa. It came out from a mistake, was emitted, so to speak, from Beis Din, became ishgogo by someone else, not they themselves. The Gemara, one final question before your questions. Hey, excuse me, all these beautiful psukim that tell me so clearly there's influencer, which is Beis Din. People were influenced. And then what? We say everyone, the majority did it. Beautiful. But it says it about Avodah Zarah. Doesn't say it about Beis Din rule, about Chelev, about Horayos, about Shabbos, about I don't know what. And says the Gemara, Yelfinan meinei meinei. In the pasuk of the regular pasuk, in the pasuk of the Avodah Zarah, it says meinei ha'eda. And in the pasuk of the regular chatoim, all other chatoim except for the Zarah, it says einei alcohol. But the word einei is the same word. Look, North Korea, einei. Einei comes to tell me exera shava, the same mechanism, the same system that works in Avodah Zarah, that Beis Din have to mislead the people, and people were misled, the majority of them. This is Rabi Meir for you. This whole package works also by regular Horayos, regular chait, where they ruled other chorus-related issues, such as chaylev, such as dam, also works over there. Einei, link, yeah. Einei, gzer shava. Now we're up to another Inyan, which is to do with us. Now we are in the Gemara, in the two dots. Yeah, hoyru Beis Din shel echad. You see the two dots? The word echad. You see the word echad at the beginning of the line, and then it says two dots. Ibailu. Oh, now they have a question like this. We're still continuing with the same machlokes of Rabi Yehuda, Meir, Rabi Shimon. We're digging deeper, and if you got it in your minds and in your charts, yeah, it's good. Ibailu. Question. Shevet echad leRabi Yehuda be'oros Beis Din Agadol. Let's say one shevet sinned, and they did it because the Beis Din Agadol ruled that way. Mi maisu shal shvatim or loy? Do we say that the other shvatim bring along and are schlepped along? They're nigra or no? I already gave you the answer. I spoiled it because I wrote it already in the sheet. But Lamaisa, it's a question. What's a question? The Gemara elaborates on the question. Mi amrinan, do we say shiva shvatim? 7 is a majority. Shiva Shvatim, who the Maisu Shal Shvatim Ba'adayu. The Mishnah, if you noticed, only spoke about 7 tribes that make the others schlep along and bring along also. Yeah? You know why? Mishum de Ikaruba. Makes sense. If majority of the nation sinned, that's a national catastrophe. And then the minority who's okay, who's squeaky clean, should also bring. Aval Chad Shevet. But if you have one tribe, the Leikaruba, you don't have the majority there. Loi, then no. No. If one Shevet sinned, that's not national issue, that's just them. Or maybe Loishna, or maybe there's no difference. Maybe at the end of the day, Grera is Grera is Grera. Grera by any other name is a Grera. At the end of the day, I don't care. If Rabi Yehuda believes that a posuk hakohol is telling me Grera, it applies even without having the majority. That's a question. How far do we go with our national responsibility? Only if majority rule sinned or even minority? Yeah, one Shevet sinned, would one bring or would all 12 bring? And obviously the same question is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. By 7, we know for sure that you bring, everybody brings. 7 is a majority. It's national based in. And majority, that's international headlines. Then of course everyone has to bring. But only the minority, does the minority schlep the majority? The small one schleps the big one? Yes or no? I don't know. The Gemara has a question. Toshma. Now we're trying to prove it from a brisa, and this is a new brisa. Here we have a very, very interesting brisa, which can be a very good test for us. How much do we know the material? The brisa starts off like this: Mahen Mevin. Line starts with Mevin. Mahen Mevin. What do they bring? Par echod. End of line. The brisa doesn't say who's talking. The brisa makes this very enigmatic statement. What do they bring? One par. Who, what, where, why? I don't know. Rabbi Shimon Rabbi Shimon argues on Rabbi Anonymous and says, no, not one, 2 porints. The Gemara is asking, what on earth is going on here? Who is the first opinion and what was the case? How many Shvatim sinned? Yeah, it's mamish like a formula, with a variable, an X and a Y. We know Rabbi Shimon says 2. From there we can derive what was the first opinion that said only 1. What's going on over here? Let's try and rule out all the options. If you say that 7 Shvatim sinned, Rabbi Shimon, how many korbanos does Rabbi Shimon require if 7 Shvatim sinned?
2.
Rabbi Shimon, 8. Even I know 7 plus 1 is 8. 7 Shvatim plus Beis Din. Rabbi Shimon is the one who always has 1 extra Beis Din, right? Rabbi Shimon says 7 plus 1, 8. Timnoya boy. So must be, this is not a majority over here, because otherwise Rabbi Shimon require more. Ela dechoto shevet echod. Must be what? 1 shevet only sinned. And that is okay. Because Rabbi Shimon says 1 shevet sinned, you bring 2 korbanos. That actually makes very nice sense, right? 1 shevet sinned, the shevet brings, and Beis Din bring. That's cool. But wait a minute. Exactly what's the case? B'mai. Iba roes Beis Dinoi. Who was the one who ruled to eat the chelev? Was it the local Beis Din of the Shevet? No. Rabbi Shimon Leisley. Rabbi Shimon does not believe in that. Rabbi Shimon does not believe that a small regional Beis Din of 23 makes a difference for korbanos. It's for our korban. So that's not the case. Elalav must be Boraz Beis Din Agadol. Must be what? This is Beis Din Agadol that not required, that allowed people to eat chelev, and then 1 shevet sinned. Very nice. Rabbi Shimon, perfecto. He says what? 1 shevet brings a korban plus Beis Din. Now, who is the Tanakama? That's very nice. Who is the Tanakama? Well, what's the X? Now, the Tanakama money. Who's Tanakama that tells you that 1 shevet brings only 1 korban if they were ruled by Beis Din Agadol? Who's that? Inem Rabi Meir. Let's rule out. Quick. Inem Rabi Meir. If you want to tell me it's Rabi Meir, doesn't make sense. Why? Rubevoy. Rabi Meir is very clear. Rabi Meir always consistently requires how many people should sin in order for Beis Din to bring the korban? Roiv. Majority. So if 1 shevet sin according to Rabi Meir, who brings the korban?
0.
0 of national korbanos,
1.
And each one.
Together what? No.
No, Rabbi Meir, no. Rabbi Meir says each one will have to bring his own little shepsel.
You're talking about each individual person.
Rabbi Meir would say if the minority sinned because of Beis Din, according to Rabbi Meir, what? Who brings?
Every person.
No, only majority.
Every person.
Every person, but not based in Seira or Kisba. Right? According to Rabbi Meir, again and again and again, only if the majority, the Roiv, sinned, then the Beis Din brings. Otherwise, Beis Din doesn't bring. So you can't have one for the whole tribe. En kazeh davar. Yeah? El alav, Rabbi Yehuda, Lichoyer, what do we see? You only have Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Yehuda, and Meir. There aren't so many chances over here, not so many options. If so, Rabbi Yehuda must be the one. He must be the variable. He must be the X in the formula. And look what Rabbi Yehuda says. Hey, there's one Shevet that sinned, and Rabbi Yehuda requires how many? One. Hey, must be Rabbi Yehuda does not think that everyone follows the minority. Hey, not like the chart. Ooh, looks like the chart is wrong at this point. Yeah, yeah. It looks like what we see according to Rabbi Yehuda: one shevet sinned, then one shevet brings, and the one shevet does not schlep along with it all the others into the fray, into the story. Lichoy can prove from that brisa very nicely. Okay, go 1 second. That this is Rabbi Yehuda. Yeah.
A shevet means the majority of the shevet.
No, one shevet is.
Yeah, shevet, Yofi. That means that one person from one shevet requires the whole shevet to bring.
Excuse me. Amri says the Gemara. Here we have a different answer. Brilliant answer to reject the suggestion. You know what we're talking about over here? The iffy majority. There are 6 shvatim, American election roiv. 6 shvatim are not roiv, but they happen to be actually the opposite of American elections, excuse me. Shisha shvatim, but the majority of the people, you have more than 51%, we have 51% of the population, but there are 6 shvatim only. The Rabbi Shimon Lozori, it's Rabbi Shimon Lozori, the Tanya, Rabbi Shimon Lozori Omer Mishmoi. Rabbi Shimon Lozori says on behalf of Rabbi Meir, first white line, Chotu Shisha and Ruba Shel Kol, 6 shvatim which make up a majority of the people, or Shiva Afal Pishen and Ruba Shel Kol, or 7 majority of shvatim which are not the majority of the people. Mevin Par, that's it. What does that mean? So really, you know why they only bring one bull, because this is talking according to who? This is talking according to Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, and he says, if you have, according to Rabbi Shimon Elazar, you have an iffy kind of majority. Rabbi Shimon Elazar is the follower of Rabbi Meir. What does Rabbi Meir say if majority sinned? That one bull is brought by Beis Din. Rabbi Shimon Elazar is a take on that, is a development of that, and he says, okay, we're talking here about an iffy situation of just about 6, and therefore what? Therefore, one korban is brought. Wait a second, well, how? Now people are asking, the wheels are beginning to turn. So why does Rabbi Shimon say only 2 korbanos? Wouldn't Rabbi Shimon say to bring 7 korbanos? There are 6 shvatim, right? 6 plus 1 is 7, yay. If so, why is Rabbi Shimon saying, right, only 1? Answers Rashbam, and this is in the footnotes of the chart. Not Rashbam, Rashi, I'm still listening to Basra. Says Rashi a very, very interesting chiddush. And he says like this. Rabbi Shimon believes that tribes bring per tribe only once they become roiv. Whoa. Once you have majority of tribes, start by 7, then you say each one brings 1. But as long as you have less than roiv, which he views the 6 shvatim as less than roiv, even if they have more people, Mimel would only bring 1. Wow. And all these shvatim have to participate in the money of that one bull, or in this responsibility. Get what I'm saying? So there's another chiddush. According to Rabbi Shimon, there is 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 shvatim. How many shvatim have to bring? 1. 1 korban brought by everyone. Rabbi Shimon only begins to count per shevet from number 7 onwards. While Rabbi Yehuda says no. Rabbi Yehuda says even from number 1 already we say that it's 1, 2, 3, 1 per shevet. So now let's summarize. This brisa, in order to make this formula, we cracked the formula. We did the math over here. This is talking about a very particular, peculiar case even, I would say. It's just about an iffy roiv. It's a questionable roiv. Says Rav Shimon Lazar, I love questionable roivs, and I follow a mayor. And I'd say, that's a roiv, good enough for me. I follow the American election business. And therefore what? Very nice. Mimela, how many korbanos are brought? He would say 1 by Beis Din. Rabbi Shimon says no. Rabbi Shimon says 6 is not a majority. You need a majority on both sides. It's a minority. When minority of the Shvatim sinned, then all these Shvatim have to bring one bull. We'll only begin to count them per Shevet, like my colleague Rabi Yehuda does, says Rab Shimon, when you have the majority of Shvatim. Footnote. You can see all the footnotes and you'll see it there. Okay? Beautiful note to your wife, very big note. You know why? Because you followed the Gemara very well. We did not yet reach the conclusion regarding Rabi Yehuda. Does Rabi Yehuda think that minority of the Shvatim, do they schlep along the other Shvatim or not? That we still don't know. In other words, we wanted to prove it from this brisa. Then we completely switched the brisa to be talking about Reb Shimon and Elazar and the Ifi majority, but very, very good. I like it because you have your eyes on the ball in the sugya. We did not yet reach a conclusion regarding what does Rabi Yehuda say if minority of the Shvatim sinned, do we say that they actually schlep with them the rest? Now we're going to prove it. Please, no questions until we get to the proof, which is very soon. I just want to make sure that my chart is right. That's all. Toshma, Machlokes is chart in the Gemara. Machlokes. Toshma, Rabi Yehuda Omer, second word long. Toshma Rabi Yehuda Omer, Shevet she'osa b'ros beis dinoi. A Shevet that followed the row of their own beis din. A Shevet bin Yomi followed the row of the local 23 Dayanim beis din, not the big one. Oisa Shevet Chayev, that Shevet has to bring. The Shako Shvatim Pturin, all other Shvatim are potter. Local politics, that's not national. Binyamin, how are you talking to me? Yeah, you know, these kadot, you know what these people do. They follow the Beis Din, everybody else is not responsible. However, Uberas Beis Din Agodol, Afilu Shvatim Chayovim. If Beis Din Agodol ruled, other Shvatim are chayav as well. If you compare the first part of the sentence to the second one, Shma Mino, that what? That the local Beis Din ruled and one Shevet followed. We say the other Shvatim, they say, I'm so sorry, I don't bring a korban. Mashma, that the second part of the sentence, that exactly the same case happened with a big Beis Din, with the highest court Beis Din, the God of Yerushalayim, then the other Shvatim do have to bring. Shma Mina, the chart is right. I almost got a chart attack. Yeah, in other words, what? Be'etzem, very good. We say, sorry, excuse me. We say what? That the majority, even if the minority sinned, the majority of one Shevet, but one Shevet, whatever that means, choyta, and it was ruled by the big Beis Din, everyone else, 11 Shvatim are schlepped by one Shevet. Amar Rashi, this is just another assertion to what we said. Masnisi nami daika. If you look well into our Mishnah meduyak, if you read the Mishnah properly, you'll see that the Mishnah also, our own Mishnah alludes to that too. Diktani. It says in the Mishnah, V'osa oisa shevet al pm, one shevet followed the ruling, oisa shevet chayv, the shal kol shvatim pturin, meaning it's a local small basin of 23, they were followed by their own people, they're chayv and all of the shvatim pturim. Lama l'mitna shal shvatim pturim? Why do you have to say that the rest of the shvatim are pturim? Why would I think otherwise? Atana oisa shevet chayv, I know that this shevet is chayv. The kevin atana oisa shevet chayv, I say, this one is chayv, mimele adana shal shvatim pturim. Right? If I say Reuven owes me $100, of course others are not mistome, unless known otherwise. Yeah. In other words, what's the story? Why do you have to talk about the other shvatim? What's bothering you subconsciously about other shvatim? Ella comes to tell you there's an underlying message over here. Hakamash Malan is coming to tell you the Beraz Beis Din who the Shal Shvatim Turim, because it's a local Beis Din, a small Beis Din of those people of that one Shevet, that's why the other Shvatim are Pturim. Haval, Bad, Be'oz, Beis Din Godol, Afil Shal Shvatim Chayovin Shma Mino. That is to tell you, the Gemara is like giving you this intonation, you know, if it's a local Beis Din, then they're Chayv, and all the other are Potter. So you don't have to be exactly a big going to realize from the Mishnah that if it was not local, but it was a great Beis Din, a Godol B'Yerushalayim, then in a Chinami, even if the minority followed, everybody else brings Korbanos as well. Shma Mino, this is a Maskana, and this now the Gemara and the charts are friends. Okay, question time. I love it when people ask questions in the right time. Okay, so the shiur is over now. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow in Hey Amud Aleph. Stay tuned with us in Maseches Horayos. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.